Today, we're transforming the small town of Verano with stunning new assets from the USA Southwest Region PAC. From charming mixed-use buildings to a brand new high school, we're building out our Southern California-inspired map with one thoughtful detail at a time. We will also continue transforming the hillside with more residential neighborhoods, something that is particularly challenging to do in City Skylines 2. These USA Southwest assets are incredible, and I can't wait to show you how they fit into the larger region. If you are new to my channel, my name is College Builder, your friendly college dean by day, playing City Skylines 2 by night. Welcome to episode 16 of Marathon Cove. Let's kick things off by using some of the new assets from the USA Southwest Region PAC. We've used the small fire station in multiple towns around Marathon Cove. It would be appropriate to replace the one in Verano with the USA Southwest Firehouse. Unfortunately, we didn't have anarchy on when placing it, so a few nearby buildings were destroyed. But no matter. This gives us an opportunity to use some of the new Southwest assets, particularly the gorgeous mixed-use ones. These assets fit in so well with our small town vibes. Now is also a great time to add the small taxi depot, which looks like a wall-to-wall building you might find in a small American town center. These corner apartments and modern mixed-use condos are terrific additions, as is the San Francisco-looking row home. The USA Southwest PAC buildings are stunning, and many fit our small town requirements with their height in the 2 to 4 story range. From here, let's move to the other side of Verano and take a look at our small elementary school, which is now at capacity. We need to find another solution. Additionally, this arterial is problematic, given that it has so many intersections close together, slowing down through traffic. We can also see many cars and heavy traffic cutting through the residential neighborhood rather than moving to the collector. We need to make multiple updates. My first instinct is simply to sever the redundant connections, thereby reducing the number of intersections. On second thought, we can make room for the Southwest Elementary School, which has a much bigger capacity for Verano as the town grows. We can then sever the shortcut, placing a cul-de-sac on the end and keeping the area safe for school children. We will allow one intersection back on the arterial, but remove the traffic light and reduce the number of crosswalks. Let's add a large playground for the kids and then detail the area around the school with rows of random bushes and shrubs to demarcate the school property. These reflect our Southern California shrubland. We will extend the tiled pathway in the back of the school, bringing it to the main road and creating the impression of a larger lot that integrates into the space. An invisible pedestrian path will allow our citizens to enter and exit from this direction. We will do the same thing from the side of the rear parking lot, adding a tile surface and then an invisible pathway. Rows of shrubs complete the aesthetic look. Pedestrians start taking the walkway almost immediately, but you will notice that they then walk through the shrubs to get to their destination. We can fix this by adding one more tiled surface to the edge of the parking lot, and then we can update our shrub row off to the side. Since this is Southern California, we will complete our detailing with palm trees planted around the school. We want to keep those wealthy parents happy. It's now time for us to add a high school to Verano. While we have used the small high school assets in Sunrise Channel and out on the peninsula, we have no high school on this side of the region. Unfortunately, the beautiful Southwest High School does not fit the spot. We will try to accommodate it by flattening the land and repositioning the rail and high voltage power lines. However, a quick test shows that there is still not enough room. We would be unable to add the rail behind the school. Our best option is to adjust the highway by improving the sharp curve and giving us more room. I will be honest, I am seriously rethinking this entire interchange as it's much too spread out. We won't address that in this episode, but let me know in the comments if we should pursue this project. Also, it would mean a lot to me if you could give the video a like. With our highway moved ever so slightly, it looks like we have enough room for the high school and the rail line. The Southwest High School is incredible and will play an essential educational role as we expand the area around Verano. We can now reconnect our rail line. I don't love rail being so close to a school, but this is the best option for now. So what are your thoughts? Can the rail be left next to the school? We will need to add more industrial and commercial space in an upcoming episode, and this area between the vineyards and the highway could be ideal. The new Verano High School has been established, so we need to reconnect our high voltage power to ensure that the energy corridor supplies the region. We won't have enough room immediately next to the high school, so let's take the power lines across the highway and bring them up on the other side. Placing them here is tricky as we don't want the power lines to impact the wetlands. This may also be a temporary build, so something to think about for the future. We can now return to detailing the high school and integrating it into the surrounding so it looks natural. My initial reaction is to extend the surfaces that come with the asset, pulling the grass right up to our scenic byway. But remember, we are in a semi-arid biome adjacent to the chaparral shrubland. Even with the wealthy homes, I'm not sure that the money would be spent on the upkeep of such a nice lawn. If we remove the surfaces, the asset blends much more nicely with the terrain. Let's plant rows of shrubs like we did at the elementary school. Did you know you can create your own custom tree sets? Hold down the control button to select multiple types of trees. Then, hold down the control button and click one of the number icons to save the custom set. I also like to use a slight offset variation to create a bit of randomness. With Anarchy on, we can use the Advanced Line tool to create our random shrub rows around the school's perimeter. This looks much more natural for this area than the manicured lawn. Let's take our invisible pedestrian path and create a side entrance to the school. This will merely be a shortcut and not a formal entrance. We will utilize one of Sully's riverbed textures to create a dirt path students can walk through. We should extend the surface right up to the track. Perhaps some local neighbors also use this track for exercising in the evening. The Verano High School looks impressive and fits well into this area. Of course, it is much too large for the current population, but it will be able to grow alongside us as the number of citizens increases. The Southwest High School is a terrific addition to the game. We are ready to integrate some of the new USA Southwest low-density residential. The colors on these assets reflect many of the earth tones of the Southwest. Shades of copper, peach, slate, ochre, umber, and dusty rose. These houses will fit in well with our selection of UK and waterfront homes. What do you think of this combination? We'll take a quick pause to add grass to our residential sidewalks, at least on the horizontal roads. This was something I meant to do a long time ago. We can leave the commercial streets with the default parking. Next, let's separate our town into two districts. Verano will be the central part in the Flat Valley. This was our original town. The second part will be the hilly mountainous area, both apart from the last episode and what we will start building today. Those living up in the hills probably feel a bit superior and would want to distinguish themselves. I am open to your name ideas, but for now, we will simply call this new district the Verano Hills. Let me know if you have any better suggestions. Let's fill in some of the last remaining space in Verano, close to our new elementary school. We have many more stunning Southwest assets to explore, featuring vibrant colors like denim, olive, straw, and saffron. Of course, we also have some terracotta roofs. I am so happy with these assets. They look great on their own, grouping them together as we are doing here. However, I want to see how they integrate with our existing assets from Verano, specifically the UK Region Pack and the waterfront properties. To do that, let's head back up into the hills to expand our neighborhood and mix our styles. In the last episode, we learned a lot about building into hilly terrain. We will pick up from where we left off. When I build a hillside terrace, I like to create a separation of 9 meters from one level to the next. Each color line represents 1 meter, so it is easy to count. The dark lines represent every 10 meters. Using this approach, we can quickly create 3 terrace levels above the flatland, and I think we even have room for a 4th level. We will do our best to maintain the general shape and context of the hill, but building up like this requires some land movement. This is a good time to adjust our arterial. It looked fine when we had the road connection by the elementary school, but now that we have removed that intersection, the shape of the avenue seems a bit strange. A new, gently curving avenue fits perfectly. We must add back our grassy median and then redo our shrubs. We can create a row of randomized bushes down the middle using the advanced line tool. It's time to start building up into the hills. Using our gradient tool, we can create a gentle slope that cuts across the first 3 terraces. This has a grade of about 7.5%, which is manageable. Since we removed the nearby intersections, I don't feel bad about adding one back onto the arterial. Let's flatten the terrace to the side of our avenue and smooth out the edge to determine how much space we have to build. We'll now use the alley to create our winding residential roads, ensuring we have enough space for houses to be placed along the edge of the hillside. We'll start with a large UK house at the end of the cul-de-sac, and then begin adding some of the southwest properties. It's easy to see how they blend seamlessly with the UK and waterfront houses, but the trick is to get a nice mix of them and recognize that you can't just place any house next to any other one. Moving up to the second terrace, we'll continue with another curvy road and dead-end cul-de-sac on which we can place a North American waterfront mansion before we continue with the southwest estates. We'll select a different set of houses for this road so that a glance between terraces 1 and 2 does not show much obvious repetition. Blending building styles thoughtfully takes more time, but it yields a community with diverse assets. Now, we will complete a portion of the third terrace. Before we can complete it all, we need to start on the other side of the hill and then work towards the top to see how it comes together. We also will not complete all the hills today, but we are laying the foundation for a much larger residential community as we work towards the mountain lake. These first 3 terraces facing the arterial are terrific, so let's swing to the other side facing our scenic byway. Let's create a gentle grade to bring the collector up the slopes and create our local dead-end streets that branch off from it. We will have 2 cul-de-sacs back to back. We just need to leave enough room between them so that houses will fit. I also want to leave enough room to squeeze another property around the cul-de-sac. Each one feels like it should have 3 to 4 houses if we can fit them in. Most of the southwest houses look traditional and could even be a part of a massive suburban development. But now and then you find a contemporary, geometrically designed one that fits with some of the more modern base game houses. For example, I love the large 2-story ultra-contemporary box house with clean lines. It blends well with the existing contemporary houses in the base game. What are your thoughts on the contemporary low-density residential options? Would you want to see a content creator pack that focused on the style? Okay, now let's return to the third terrace and bring together the 2 sides of the hill. Now that we see how this is developing, we can build a small street and cul-de-sac and complete the remaining parts. We will hold off on the 4th level terrace until we are ready to expand further, but I'm really happy with the progress we've made thus far. The southwest houses are perfect for Verano. Let's now turn to creating a low-density commercial strip, such as those commonly found in the United States. We will provide plenty of parking, because locals will be pretty car dependent. This new Level 5 USA Southwest restaurant is lovely. We will also place a large North American gas station. This corner location at our 2 avenues as you leave town is ideal. Finally, for this short stretch, let's include a Mexican chain restaurant featuring a drive-thru and tasty tacos. As we continue down the strip, we'll add another Southwest commercial building that resembles a restaurant. Across from it, we can see the art supply store, a signature building from the asset pack providing citywide and local benefits. We can install a one-way parking lane at the back of our strip to ensure we have adequate parking. Since this is Southern California, let's also place a North American big box store. At the very end, we have room for one more Southwest restaurant. We'll clean up our landscaping and then fix the parking lane to make sure it is one way. This area is coming together nicely. Let's remove street parking by adding grass to our side roads. We can also extend the grass up into our Hillside neighborhood. This looks like a shopping center I would enjoy visiting. However, we can build more and prepare ourselves for future developments. We will create a level area between the mountain and the small creek. Next, let's place a small collector that runs alongside the creek. This road will set us up for more hillside construction, including the mountain lake visible in the distance. I have been considering a unique build for this lake area, but please let me know what ideas you have. We aim to finish the commercial strip across from the high school, but to do that, we need to build out another small terrace. Doing so will show how much room we have for commercial buildings down on the main level. Just a few residences will finish it off. We can then add what looks like a shopping strip, the kind you would find all across the USA. Next, we will place the more upscale Westwood Center, one of the other signature buildings from the Southwest Pack. We can then use the scenic byway to add a few more restaurants, including something resembling a California pizza kitchen, a vintage 1950s-style diner, and finally, a small fast food burger joint. Our next step is to integrate and detail this entire area. Invisible pedestrian paths allow shoppers and diners to walk from one establishment to another. One of the tiled surfaces will be the perfect addition to create our outdoor pedestrian promenade. I like that this walkway is a bit off-center and not exactly perfect. These commercial buildings may originate from different periods and were later unified into a single shopping area. We will then begin to expand some surfaces beneath the various retail assets. Parking, sidewalks, grass, and building surfaces that extend outward from their original footprints generally look better. This is simple to achieve whether you play with mods or just the base game, and it enhances how the asset integrates into the environment. It also adds to realism. In small North American retail complexes, parking lots often connect to one another, even when the commercial spaces are unrelated. Let's complete the parking lane to ensure our shoppers have a place to park. We should also modify small parking lot stubs, like this one, which seem to lead somewhere but may not depending on what is placed next to them. Eliminating the stub improves the overall appearance. Expanding the surface area of the big box store also creates realism. Let's now add an invisible pedestrian lane for those who might want to walk around the complex. We can then apply the same tiled surface that we used on the other side. I'm not sure I like how this turned out, so I will tweak it one or two more times. Generally, I'm not a fan of these types of US strip malls. They represent a poor use of space and promote reliance on cars. That being said, since this is Southern California, I believe it's important to include them. However, that won't deter us from building beautiful pedestrian paths and encouraging walkability wherever possible. And despite my distaste for strip malls, I like how this little area has turned out. We just need to extend a few more building and parking surfaces. It actually looks like a lot of Verano residents are walking to our restaurants. This gas station is a good example of a place that needs some updates. I believe that our Mexican restaurant's parking and drive-through area would likely connect directly to the station. We can remove a few props to create that appearance. Let's finish extending the pavement and grass surfaces to integrate the station with the scenic byway and the side of the road. Since the gas station is located in a prime area, they will want to maintain their grass well. We will fix one more parking lot before returning to the problematic pedestrian path. I never felt this connection was quite right. We can adjust the tiled surface a bit until it looks better, but also, let's not overthink it. Our commercial strip is bustling. Let's install crosswalks in front of our high school to ensure students can cross the scenic byway safely. Our final step in this area is to upgrade the alley segments to roads, and then add grass to the sidewalks, ensuring that cars can only park in the designated parking spaces. For the long parking stretch, we can also double-click with the alley to add a node, thereby giving us another protected crosswalk. That finishes out the commercial stretch, so now let's turn to the empty space across the creek. A large high school in a wealthy community like Verano would have an active sports culture, probably soccer, lacrosse, tennis, and basketball. For Verano, we will focus right now on football. We've placed the field across the creek to make it easy for students to access the high school, but we need to ensure that they can walk there easily. Let's construct a pedestrian bridge over the creek and link it with a walkway so that players won't need to walk along the busy scenic highway or drive to reach it. Connecting the gray base game paths with the lighter brick sidewalks at the high school was challenging. I settled on this approach, but let me know if you think there's a better way. We already have ample parking for football games, but the field has more clutter than necessary for a high school. We can remove some extra fences and a few stands so it's not too large. It also has way too much pavement. Let's move the paved area back slightly, leaving the homeless on the grass, which is probably more comfortable. This helps the field feel scaled down and more appropriate in size for our high school. As we prepare for future builds, please let me know if Verano should include additional sports facilities, and we will see if we can accommodate them. Now comes my favorite part. We will do some landscaping to bring this build to life. In the last episode, we worked hard to capture the essence of chaparral shrubland, also known as scrub or scrub brush, commonly found in the hills of Southern California. We want to do more of that today. This biome features low-lying shrubs adapted to warm, arid summers and cooler winters. I love how the wild bushes look, scattered around the hills and wealthy homes. The natural terrain consists primarily of smaller, shrubbier plants, so we won't plant any trees today. Sometimes, the residents will add palm trees or other plant life of their own. This biome can also be found in parts of Oregon, Arizona, Baja California, West Texas, and of course, around the Mediterranean. We'll suppose that the commercial area, high school, and football field are all landscaped with native plants to create a natural look. Unfortunately, this terrain has sometimes led to tragedy, such as the recent devastating fires around Los Angeles. My heart goes out to everyone who has been impacted by these recent events. Let's complete the commercial strip with some palm trees using the advanced line tool. It took some time to determine the best spacing between them. If they are too close together, the row of palms can look overcrowded. We'll also finish the median with a row of wild bushes. This is a great touch and forms a unifying detail with the wild bushes on our arterial. What are your thoughts on the USA Southwest Region Pack and how we integrated the assets into Verano? Please let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you once again for your support during my recovery from surgery. If you enjoyed today's video, please give it a like and subscribe.